big deal. That's always went with the territory. I'll see you in Disneyland.
My defense, because I am such a part of it. I mean, I obviously I'm going to bear the consequences, so why not bear the responsibility?
Okay, sir, is she still alive?
Are you alive?
Well, last time we saw her.
Mama? I killed Dean.
Brian?
Ma'am?
What are you doing?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Hi, welcome everybody.
Welcome back to another week. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for coming back. And just so you know, this is going to be a shoot the shit on something we watched. So if this is not your preference on shoot the shits, I would skip over it. But if it is, welcome. We're back. We'll have a lot of banter back and forth. We'll be talking about things, you know. So I know some people, you know, they like the stories, and we do have that. And we have a lot of it that you can go back on because this is our third season. But today we're doing another shoot the shit.
Yeah.
So because there are a lot of documentaries and a lot of things coming out on true crime that are very interesting to watch. And I am surprised some of them that we don't hear about, or we kind of do, because the one you sent me to this week, I do kind of remember the story.
Oh, you do?
But you know how you don't follow it after the fact,
I've
like you
never
hear about
heard
it.
of this story before.
I kind of remember.
Okay.
Not the I kind of remember. Should I say the girl? Well, it's in the title, I suppose. I kind of remember the girl being set on fire.
Okay.
I don't remember anything. You know, like
Other
when you
than
don't
that.
really follow afterwards.
Yeah. Before we get started, I would just want to give a little shout out.
Yes, please.
To I don't know her real name, but her YouTube name is Baby Blue Steel 13. And she left us a really nice comment on YouTube. So I just wanted to give her a shout out. Let me click on her profile and see if I can find her name.
I don't know how to do all that. Gina's pretty savvy when it comes to this chat thing on YouTube.
Yeah,
Baby
her
Blue
name
Steel.
is just Baby Blue Steel 13.
Well, you're
so
awesome.
anyway, thank you very much for your comment. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We appreciate the bad ones too, because you know they keep us going.
And just anybody who comments, we actually really appreciate it, and we take it to heart, and we look at it, and when we get constructive criticism, we try to improve on our show, and so we just really appreciate everybody listening every week. I want to announce something on air to Gina so we can all see her true reaction to it.
Oh, okay. I'm nervous.
I'm pregnant. No, I'm just kidding.
What? I was like, wait, what? You told me you had the flu.
No. I'm just kidding. I'm going back to Starbucks.
Why?
Because I miss it.
What?
And I'm going to earn extra money. I need to earn extra money for my trips that I'm taking this year, especially because her daughter's getting married and the first half of the payment is due February 1st, the first week in first. The first week of February, the first week in first. Yes, that too. And then I have to get an implant. So that's more money. And then I have a trip with my parents. And so, and
You're
then
really
we actually
going
go
back?
I am.
I'm so disappointed. You guys
I
have no
know.
idea. If you're not
She's-
watching this on YouTube and you can't see my face,
I know.
because you know what that means? That means that she's not available to record. She's not available.
I told her I wanted Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. Every Tuesday and Wednesday off. So, and I think
But that means that she's not available to do anything else.
well, this is my year of not spending. So I'm going to try. So not to spend so that we can save so that we'll have a year of traveling maybe one year. So I'm going to try. We have a wedding that we need to focus on. Jazzy is getting married. Her daughter is getting married. So we have a wedding to focus on. And so, yeah, I knew she wouldn't kill me if it was on camera.
If it wasn't on camera,
She
have
probably
choked her out by
choking
now.
me by now. That's why.
Oh,
I know.
Lord.
But
Okay.
but not. It's in a couple more weeks for me to start. So don't even worry.
Don't even worry till those couple
Couple
more
weeks.
weeks.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Also, I want to say, I know that I've talked about it multiple times on the podcast before, that if anybody likes to read mysteries, paranormal, anything like that, my favorite author in this entire world is Helen Pfeiffer. She's from the UK. She's an amazing person. And she just wrote the most amazing book I have ever in my life read.
I started reading it a couple days ago.
I'm done. It's called The Vanishing Bookstore.
Don't worry, people. I have a house full of animals.
Okay, we don't have to check on that.
No.
Okay.
It's fine.
And so I just want to give her the biggest shout out, send her all the love, because I was messaging her today and I said I was trying so hard when I was reading it to just not finish. I didn't want it to end.
Like you were trying to slow down. Like,
yes, because I was just banging through it. Like it's
really
amazing.
Okay,
it is so fucking good. Like it's just so good. And I don't know, because it has to do with Salem, and we were just in Salem this past summer, and so it's very relatable for me because I was just there. But even if you've never visited Salem before, it has to do with the Salem witch trials. And
okay,
dear Jesus, it is so good. It is so fucking good. So you know what? Props to you, Helen, because you killed it on this one. I really, really did.
She?
Her other books are phenomenal. Like, I mean, I love them. But this book,
amazing. Okay, I started it. So
just beyond anything I could say. And my last announcement, the story that we're talking about today is super graphic.
Yeah, you did warn me before I
Yes.
started watching it.
If you do, or if you haven't watched the documentary on Paramount Plus, it's called The Fire That Took Her. If you haven't watched it yet, be warned that it is very, very graphic. And if that kind of stuff bothers you, then just listen to our podcast and we'll tell you what it's about.
Yeah, you won't have to
And
see
you won't have to
pictures
see
and
pictures.
videos.
We won't put up any pictures. So just a
Yeah.
heads up, if you're watching this on YouTube, we will not put up any pictures because it's extreme.
One, it's very extremely graphic.
It's very, very graphic.
And YouTube might not
Yeah.
appreciate that. So
Yeah. So shout out to my friend from work, George, because he's the one that turned me on to this story. He sent me either like an Instagram reel or a TikTok or something of a lady that talks about documentaries, and she was talking about it. And I was like, I'm going to watch it right now. I just so happened to just be laying in bed and I was like, I'm turning it on right now. And then I text you the next day. I'm like, you got to watch this thing. So
yeah.
it is called The Fire That Took Her, and it's on Paramount Plus. I don't know if it's anywhere else.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't
just went
know
straight
if
there.
you can watch it anywhere else. But this woman is
Amazing.
a hero.
She is.
Go
I
ahead.
don't know
what,
if you-
what were your thoughts?
On this, I don't even know where to begin. When I hear about domestic abuse, and it just pisses me off, and I'm trying to hold my tongue because of YouTube, but it literally, like, I just don't understand why people can't just walk away.
Yeah.
Why they just can't leave somebody and say, you know what? You know what the best revenge is? Having a better life than them.
Yeah.
Not taking their life.
Mhm.
Not destroying their life.
Yeah.
Like, be a better person and make something better of yourself.
Yeah.
Is the best revenge you can do for anybody. And I will guarantee you, and I'm going to tell anybody out there who's young, 20 years from now, I look back at some of my relationships.
It's not
and
going to matter.
It doesn't fucking matter.
It's not going to matter.
I don't even remember half the things that they did that pissed me off.
Yep.
I don't even remember any of the things. And some of the things that I do remember, I'm not even pissed anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't make sense to me. I think about some things when I was really angry, because when you're young, you don't know how to control your emotions. And I think about stuff like that. And I would miss out on some of the best friendships and relationships I have now if I would have been that person. Like, I
Right.
mean, I just don't get it.
It's so it's about a girl named Judy, and she has, sorry, that's my foot. She has, how many daughters does she have? 2 daughters?
She has 2 daughters.
2 daughters. She has
Yes.
2 daughters. She did, when she was younger in her 20s, she had ovarian cancer and
she-
had lots of complications.
Yeah, and she was married and was divorced.
Right.
Her ex-husband cheated on her, left her with these 2 girls to raise on her own. So
Yeah.
then she had the ovarian cancer.
She had this ovarian cancer and had complications, and unfortunately was put on pain pills.
She had a hysterectomy.
Yeah.
So
And
it was
she
removed,
was became addicted to pills. And
which is a very
then-
common story.
very common.
with these opioids.
Yes, very common. And when her insurance ran out, she no longer had health insurance. Then she turned to the streets, which is where her boyfriend at the time comes in. And she basically, instead of taking the pills, she replaced it with heroin.
Yeah.
And
And she met him like he Facebooked her or something.
Yeah, like,
messaged her.
something.
I'm going to say, yeah, like Facebook messaged her and started telling her how beautiful she was.
Yeah.
And things women want to hear, you
Yeah.
know, and you think you find this really great guy and he starts feeding her.
love bombing her.
Love bombing her. But then he starts feeding her addiction.
Yes.
Starts lying to the mom about he needs money to stop her from doing this stuff, but yet he was actually taking the money
And buying her drugs.
and
You know what I found really
it's a control
weird?
thing.
Oh, it is. But the thing that I found really crazy to me was looking at the dates on this. So when they show on the screen the Facebook message that he sent her, it was literally like 3 weeks before the accident.
See,
They had just met.
so they weren't even together that long.
No.
That is strange. Well, I knew that because
No,
the
I'm
kids-
a liar.
no,
He messaged her in May, I believe, and the accident was like in August.
well, that's months.
So yeah,
That's only a few
yeah,
months.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
I know that the mom was like, when she met him at first, because he has all these tattoos and stuff, which, you know, we don't judge. But so she was a little bit concerned. And so she brought her concern to her daughter and kind of said, I don't want him around your daughters. And so he finally came around and he convinced her, like, hey, I'm really a nice dude. Like,
Yeah.
don't judge a book by its cover. I'm really a sweet dude and a nice guy. And so she bought it, and he really wasn't. He's very manipulative.
This man had a very long rap sheet.
Michael, right?
Multiple charges of domestic violence, of obviously drug possession, but multiple domestic violence charges. And obviously once this all came out, then they were like, oh my God, like this guy
Piece of
had a history of doing this. But basically what happens is she is in a recovery program, and he is supposed to be taking her to this, one of her classes, and they stop at the gas station, and mind you, this is all caught on film,
Yeah.
and they're arguing, and you see her, she has a cup of soda, she throws it on him, and apparently his way of getting back at her was to completely douse her with gasoline and then light her on fire.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like a split second where you think like, oh, I'm really super angry about this height of this anger. I'm going to throw it. It was like he douses her with fire. Then he walks over to the truck. He looks like he's going to be leaving. And like a minute later, he comes back and lights her on fire.
Yeah.
And
he pours the gasoline on her and then walks away.
And granted, he notices that other people noticed what he did. And so all of a sudden he's in repair my reputation mode. So he goes running for a
fire extinguisher.
Yeah, that thing. And this is all name that. He goes running for a fire extinguisher, puts her out. But by this point, the damage has definitely been done. But it's amazing the story he comes up with.
Yeah,
regarding why he does.
They're both taken to the hospital.
Yeah, because he has burns on him too. Because of course he had some, gasoline on him when he poured it on her, and
nothing like her.
No, not at all.
She was burned over 95% of her body.
It was insane,
unrecognizable.
Like they do this thing called your age and your. It's based on the age and the percentage that your body is covered in burns, and it gives you your percentage of mortality. And I believe in the hospital, they said she was 85% burned all on her body is what they counted, even though 95% of her body was burned. But 85, they went by 85 and they added her age of like, I believe she was like 37. And it ended up being like over 100, like 111% or some crazy number.
Wild.
Where it's like, they said they've never seen anybody close, like people who aren't even as close to that percentage burn not survive this.
Yeah, they were in shock that she was still alive.
Yes.
And
alive enough to actually point the finger at him and say, yes.
She was able to speak. She did say that when he was pouring the gas on her, that she did swallow it. So a lot of her throat and her vocal cords were burned. So she has her voice is like a little raspy, but nothing. She speaks very clearly, like extremely clear.
Yeah, after she got healed, not right away. We're not saying right away, because it did take time.
Yes,
they had to because they had to put her into an induced state, like
coma,
and they woke her up from it to try to get her to answer a few questions for the police. But when the sister went to go see her and the mom came following her, the sister was in the hallway vomiting, and the mom could not comprehend why.
Yeah.
Like after the sister went to go, like she did not know why her daughter was vomiting if her other daughter, she was able to go in to go see her. Like she hadn't gone in yet, the mom. And the mom was like, I just couldn't comprehend the scene I was seeing. And then they accidentally took her to the boyfriend's room before before her daughter's room. On accident, they took her a different way, and she ran into him. She's like, what happened? And he just kept saying, it was an accident. It was an accident. So she just didn't even put two and two together that he was the one who did this to her. Yeah. And it took her a while to actually believe it. Like, and not even believe it, just comprehend it.
Yeah, try to wrap her head around everything.
But when she did, she started and I think things started adding up, but they start going back into the history of their dating, which wasn't very long, that she was already crying out for help with some incidences. Yes. Like she was hiding from him at certain points. She wouldn't return to her apartment at certain times. She'd go hide out in a hotel because he was there, and she'd want him to get out. And then the next day they were made up and they're together. And
you see the family, the text messages like back and forth.
Yeah.
And
the family couldn't figure out, like, are they done? Are they finished? Are they together? They couldn't figure that out. But they never in a million years guessed that it was something that this guy did to her on purpose.
Yeah.
So in his story was, go ahead and tell his story, because he disgusts me.
So his story is, when the detectives come to question him, and mind you, he's in a hospital bed. He is nowhere near the condition she is. And he's just laying there, and they ask him.
No emotion.
Yeah,
No crying,
nothing.
nothing.
He's very calm. He's very, collected. And he says that she asked him for a cigarette, and he went to light the cigarette. And this is after he had poured the gasoline on her. And then she just went up in flames.
If my man threw gasoline on me,
You're going to be like, hey,
I'm
can
gonna
I
be
have
like,
a cigarette?
yeah, that's what
and can you light it?
the detective was like, you're going to tell me that you're pissed enough to douse gasoline on her, but 30 seconds later, you have a calm state of mind where you're going to go light a cigarette for her. And she's just chill there with gasoline on her saying, yeah, light me up. Like, it just does not make sense. His story is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
So, but
this girl lived almost 2 years after this incident, and she had been through almost 100 surgeries at this point.
Countless
failed surgeries, skin grafts, just you name it, this girl has been through it. And thankfully had a very loving family that supported her, but she wanted to testify against him in a murder trial, knowing that she was going to die before she died.
Because what happened beforehand is they took him to court. He got arrested. He got a lawyer right away. When he was still in the hospital, the lawyer shows up. This is a man who's not guilty. He got a lawyer right away. They charged him. They couldn't charge him with murder because she was still alive. They actually were trying to postpone, kind of playing the waiting game
because she was going to die.
They were just waiting for her to die.
Yeah, and
like,
that's basically
no
what
way.
they said is like, unfortunately, we were waiting for her to die so we could charge him with murder.
Yeah. And so she ends up actually waking up and starting to talk and everything. And that's what they were surprised about, is that she came out of her coma. She's talking. She's awake. This is before the 2 years, of her life. But so she's talking. She's doing all this. So they decide they're going to prosecute him for throwing fire on her, hurting her, abuse. And the guy only gets 11 years.
Because he pleads no contest.
Yeah. And they're saying, oh, well, she's still alive. And there's no law there. There's a lot of argument with
Ohio, by the way.
Yeah, but there was no law that gave him any more than that. Like, they couldn't prosecute him for any more.
There was no way that this man could have served any more time or been sentenced to any more time than 11 years.
He got the max.
Yeah.
So that's why he could still get charged with murder later on down the line. So if she dies, but the thing is, there's two things that disturb me about the story. One, she can't be assisted in any type of dying. So she had to go on hospice. She couldn't take anything that would, maybe, I don't want to say speed up the process because we really don't do that here, but
no,
there was
we do.
Yeah,
but we do, but it can't be physicians assisted. It has to just be natural.
But there was one point where they wanted to do something for her, and they said, no, they can't do that, because then, if she would say, like, I just give up. She couldn't do that. She couldn't just give up. It had to be where she was trying to fight it, and then she die, and then they can charge him with murder. And there was another thing in there that mentioned, and maybe you can remember it, was where they were trying to get some monetary assistance.
But they couldn't because she had drugs in her system.
Because she had the opioids in her system.
Yeah.
Which I think is a load of crap.
Yeah.
I really, really do. Especially when it's not even open. She had heroin. I get it. She had a drug in her system. But somebody comes and victims, it was for victims assistance. Right. Why is she not considered a victim? because she was doing drugs, she's still a victim of somebody trying to kill her. He threw gasoline on her, and I just found that appalling. Like,
Yeah,
that
it's
the family
ridiculous.
couldn't get any assistance for her medical bills through this like victim assistance
I mean,
program.
some of the laws that are in place, and this takes place in Ohio,
Yeah.
but some of the laws just everywhere some of them are just so asinine, and I don't understand why some of them are in place, because for instances like this, clearly this family needed help and she was a victim of domestic violence.
Yeah. I don't understand. I think because I don't know if you guys ever play a game. There's a game that we play in our family called Balderdash, and they mention like a law that that's in the books for certain states that is just a load of crap, kind of made way long time ago, but it's still in the books. And I'm thinking there are probably so many laws out there that. Do we have a system where they go back and they start reading these and saying, okay, this needs to be changed, this needs to be altered, this needs to be updated, this needs to be deleted?
Probably not until it comes up in a case.
And see, that's my thing, is that we need to really look at things we write down as in law that might be outdated.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, there is a law out there, and I want to say it's somewhere back east, New York, Massachusetts, something like that, where a woman is not allowed to drive a car. And this is back when the cars were like 1920s, a woman's not allowed to drive a vehicle unless her husband is walking in front of that vehicle waving a red flag. It's my favorite. It's my husband's favorite law out there. But that was on Balderdash. So
that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So that law's still in the books.
Wow.
So if you
we could have been cited in Massachusetts.
If that was, I can't forget the
we
state.
were just there by ourselves.
We did not. I'm sorry, I did not have my husband in front of the vehicle. And it has to be your husband. It's literally your husband has to be in front of the, not just a man, or maybe it was a man. I don't know, but it's my husband's favorite law.
Ridiculous.
And he always brings that one up and says that we should have that everywhere. So,
oh God.
But yeah, no. So I'm wondering. We have these laws in place that weren't written to protect victims sometimes. It's more to protect the prosecuted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but as you were saying, she was trying. First, she got into the books longer sentences, which couldn't apply to her case because he was already sentenced. But for longer sentences for people who do an act towards another person that gives them a lifetime of pain or disfigurement.
Disfigurement, yeah.
So
it's called Judy's Law.
Judy's Law, yes.
And she fought for that.
And her daughters spoke in front of Congress.
Oh, and that was
powerful.
It was very, very, very much so. And those girls were, first of all, those girls, her sister, her children, her mother are like the utmost bravest people to be able to do what they did and go in and take care of her and stay strong. I'm sure they all had their days, but I mean, to just be able to pull together and get through something like this isn't like, you have a family member that gets in a car accident or like some sort. This is a whole different ball game, people. Yeah. This is just to know that this man lit this woman on fire. And if it wasn't for somebody walking up and seeing this happen, there was a witness, and the witness said, I believe that the only reason he went and grabbed a fire extinguisher is because he saw me there.
Yep.
He said, I truly believe that if I wasn't there, he would not have used that fire extinguisher.
And it's sad to say, I mean, Judy was in so much pain, and you can see it, and so horrible, and it was a process for the family. And I bet you more times than not, she probably wished she would have just died in that fire
Yeah.
of what she went through. But there was a reason why she stayed alive, and it was for Judy's Law, and it was for her being able to testify. They actually
In her
took
own murder
her
trial.
testimony in for her own murder
For
trial.
her own murder trial.
So
That's
they,
never happened before.
yeah, it was the first time
Yeah.
ever. They actually recorded her, and what made, because it almost was not put in the courtroom to be
Yeah.
viewed,
Yeah.
because they were going to argue that, you know, when it would only be one-sided, the other side wouldn't have been able to cross-examine because she would be dead. But they actually cross-examined
Yeah.
her. His lawyer had an opportunity to cross-examine her while she was alive, and they recorded it.
I had such an issue with that because, and I get it, that's his job. That's what he signed up for. And he even says, like, okay, like, that's enough. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like,
He even said, like, that guy's guilty.
Yeah.
Like, he knew he was defending a guilty man. He said, no way is this man innocent.
but to have to stand in front of a court and cross-examine her and ask her and push these questions that he was pushing, I could not have done that.
Yeah.
There's no way I could have done that
Yeah.
in this case.
It takes a special kind of person, but I do commend him for coming back and saying,
Yes.
it's probably
Yes.
wrong. I didn't feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
And this guy is guilty, but I mean, he did his job. I mean,
He did.
but towards the end, it wasn't like he was trying to save him from
No.
or making him look innocent.
Not at
He was
all.
just basically saving him from the death penalty.
Yeah.
That's all. He was just figuring, like, you know what, if I can save him from the death penalty, then
And he'll get life in prison.
Yeah.
And
which is what happened.
Yeah.
He ended up getting life in prison, but that's only because the family didn't want to draw out a long court case
right.
in court, and
She was definitely starting to deteriorate. I think that took a lot out of her to have to testify like that. It was 3 hours long. It was from her hospital bed.
they had to take her off pain
They
medicine
had
to
to take
do
her.
it.
Yeah, they had to take
So
her
she
off
was in a lot of pain.
all her pain medicine because they wanted her to be completely coherent and not, have anything, and no drugs in her system. And she had to be alone. Nobody could be in her hospital room with her. Her mom, her sister, her children, everybody had to be outside, and she was alone in front of this camera just talking
and
and
cross-examined.
being cross-examined.
But yeah, she passed away, and what ended up happening is he ended up taking a plea deal so they can take the death penalty off the table.
Yeah.
But the mom said under the condition that he doesn't plead no contest, that he pleads he's guilty, and they get to view the video of her being
Yes.
cross-examined.
Yeah.
And so they agreed, and he ended up getting life in prison. So he's
Yeah.
currently serving life
Yeah.
in prison in Colorado.
Yeah.
It came to my attention because of
Chris
Chris
Watts.
Watts.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
But isn't he in
No.
Wisconsin?
yeah, he's in
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But the names kind of sounded familiar. I thought maybe that was the first place they held Chris Watts, but I wasn't too sure. I thought maybe
I
you
don't
might have
know.
known.
Maybe, huh?
Yeah. But
Maybe.
yeah, that's
It's,
you really
yeah,
need to see
it's-
this documentary.
Yeah, I told my mom to watch it, and that kind of stuff doesn't bother my mom, like that graphic stuff. So if it does, if that kind of stuff bothers you, maybe just listen to it. But it's an incredible story.
Yeah.
It really, really is. And she is one hell of a woman.
Yeah. No,
She really is
amazing.
brave, her and her family.
So,
Yeah.
and there is a Judy. It's a foundation.
Yeah.
It's a foundation that the family started to help victims of domestic violence. So we'll put it up here at the
Yeah.
end so that you'll be able to click on it, so that if you kind of see what they do. And
Yeah, if you want to
need-
donate, if you want to,
Or if you need the help out there, you know,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if
to
anybody
help.
is in a bad situation, I know it's not the easiest thing to do, and a lot of people don't understand when people say I couldn't leave.
Yeah.
I get it, you know, you sometimes you can't leave. But please, you know, reach out to somebody, something, somewhere. There's plenty of places that can help you. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So thank you for joining us for another week. If you would like to join us on Patreon, we are now doing, you know, since we do such super sad stories on here, our Patreon is now a place to go to laugh and just see us kind of
Have fun.
and do fun things. So we are at patreon.com/50 States of Madness. And so if you would like to join us there, we would love to have you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.